Hello, I'm ShieldWall100 and welcome back to the mean streets of Gotham for another Batman Miniatures game 3rd edition game report. Today's confrontation is going to be showing a battle between the Joker crew and Task Force X, the Suicide Squad, who've been mobilised by Amanda Waller to put a foil on the Clown Prince of Crime's latest harebrained scheme. Yes, should be a bit of a laugh. I'm looking forward to it. Two very different types of faction, small numbers, but lots of characters and heavy-hitting free agents versus a colourful crew with a powerful leader and lots of less powerful but yes, clownish henchmen. Please check out the description below for a link to the Top Hatted Hamster web store for 10% off discount that he's been kind enough to grant me and anyone with a code on my channel. So yep, check that out. Maybe go check out his store as well. Let's get on and find out which models are taking part today. Okay, well here's the Suicide Squad for today. It's exactly the same as the Suicide Squad I took against the Bat family, since they seem to equip themselves rather well there, and I was quite pleased with the way the various powers and abilities sort of complemented each other. But yeah, so as you can see, we've got Katana, the latest release there. She is very, very highly offensively charged. She's able to do an awful lot and has sufficient defenses to acrobat her way around bullets and things, so hopefully that will hold her in good stead here. We've got Captain Boomerang, who's just a handy kind of all-rounder, really, kind of cheap, along with Killer Croc as well, who's by no means the most expensive version of Killer Croc, but he's certainly up to tearing apart some clowns today, I think. And this guy is quite useful for scoring objectives because he has the primary target ability, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. And yes, here we are with Harley Quinn from the Suicide Squad branding version of her character. She's really powerful and looking to distance herself from the Joker just a little bit more. And finally, team leader here is Deadshot. We've seen him plenty, seen Harley Quinn plenty, but yeah, we know exactly what he does. He shoots people really, really well, and he's hoping to do the same here. Okay, let's see what's in the Joker's crew. Yeah, it's a fairly sizable Joker's crew it is, with 9 models, so that's one of the larger ones for me. You can certainly go larger, especially in Joker, but yes, for me I've got to be practical for filming, and 9 was as high as I was willing to go, so there you are. We're going with the, we've got a bit of a mixture of different sets where I'm taking these models from, to make advantage of my collection, but we're going with the Joker's Clowns Party version of Joker. This is a guy who's in, well, it's kind of based on the Arkham Asylum version of Joker. He's pretty good. Between him and Ace of Spades here, this henchman, they're going to be doing most of the poisoning, for which this crew relies on some of its points. It's because I'm not taking Gaggy, you'll notice, so no easy poisoning except for these 2 people. Otherwise, we're going with the Back to Gotham version of Harley Quinn, because it's a very solid, powerful model, which I know quite in and out. So 2 Harley Quinns against each other. I'm not unaware of that fact, but it's DC, it's quite possible. In terms of other henchmen, we've got Polka Dot Man. Yeah, he fits in pretty well with this crew. I think you'll agree with his colour scheme. And yeah, I got him painted up. Thought I might as well give him a go, see if he can do some protecting of the more important members of the crew, and just some frustrating for the high damage output Suicide Squad team, because yeah, if they fail to be killing people, that might be holding them up from scoring. That might even cause some heads to pop. Okay, the rest of the crew is a mixture of henchmen. Oops, to get you in focus, sir. Mr. Hobo Clown, don't think I've taken you before. Love the model, have wanted to, but he's 14 points, which kind of just sits weirdly in the points ranges, to be perfectly honest, as far as well, and never quite fit him in. But otherwise, it's a mixture of clowns that I have used before in various guises and stages, and yeah, I'm not going to go through them all individually. They're probably going to be taken off the board at some point. At least some of them are anyway. They're very low, they're relatively low defense, etc., but a lot of them can surprise you, and mostly that we use to put out stinky fish, explode teeth, and all sorts of other things. Or take bullets for Joker, of course. He has Protect Me. Okay, right, let's move on and get some deployment done, and I'll show you where we're going. Right, deployed and ready to kick off now. Let's start with the Joker's crew because they're right in front of me. You can see a large cluster of them around here at the beginning here. Just so you know, the chance encounter was drawn for the deployment zones. We've seen that several times before. Yep. There's the text, but basically it's these long board edges, well, board edges shall we say, and this is how it went down. The Joker's got this one, and of course that means the Suicide Squad is over there. Lovely. Yeah, Joker, the main man himself, is at the front in the middle to give all of his goons inspired as much as possible. So yeah, as you can see, Polka Dot Man is within protection range of just about everyone, so if that's necessary. Harley Quinn zipping in along the flank here. She can use her acrobatic and incredibly fast movement just to get over these obstacles or move back into the centre as needs be. The only other outlier is, if I just get down here, you can see Ace of Spades, the poison dude. He's just over there, and yeah, just wanted to spread some things out because I need to get the poison people going basically, and yeah, so I want to have as much coverage of that as possible. Just going to come around to show you where the Suicide Squad is, all 5 of them. Right, team leader Deadshot is up on top of the Capital Metro there, looking pretty cool. I thought that was a nice spot. Hopefully he'll be able to lay down the pain from up there. Captain Boomerang has snuck forward to his place next to the Joker mobile, and let's see, Katana and Harley Quinn, the 2 very fast characters in the crew, are at the back here, sort of just ready to sprint forwards, but they're nicely out of sight because there are no light sources over this side of the board. Finally, we have Killer Croc there in the middle of the park. He can be deployed next to a sewer, so he's used that opportunity to get as close as he reasonably can without being covered by a light source. So yeah, this one seemed like a good idea. Right, I think we're ready to start playing now. Let's start with turn 1. Okay, the take the lead and raise plan phases are both done for turn number 1. Nice and simple. In the first phase, which is take the lead, the Suicide Squad played Die Hard from the hand for 2 points. We've seen this many times before. They've chosen Harley Quinn. They play it now. They'll score it at the end of the turn if Harley Quinn is still on the board and not removed as a casualty or made KO for 2 points. Yep, and after that I can reveal that the Joker crew with a 3-2 score managed to get the initiative, so they'll be activating first. In the second phase, a new card came out for the Joker crew, Psychopaths, which is a 3-pointer. It's one of the new ones, which made the deck up to 20 cards. Remember from my quick critique, I said that I got the 3 extra cards. They filled out the Joker crew to 20 cards now, and they've added this one in. It's a lot of words. It's played in the razor plan phase. It scores at the end of the turn. It's quite straightforward for all the text. Basically, there have to be every time a casualty occurs for either side, you put a damage marker, an attack marker on top of this card. Every time the Suicide Squad places a suspect marker, that will mean a defense marker is placed on top of the Psychopaths card. If at the end of the turn there are more attack markers than defense markers, so there's more models killed than there are suspects played by the Suicide Squad, then the Joker's crew will score 3 lovely points. And yeah, I mean, it's not by any means guaranteed to score or anything this turn, but there are 3 copies in the deck, and hopefully we'll see some more of them. And yeah, it's the first 3-pointer for the Joker crew, so yeah, should be interesting to see how that pans out. And it cycles the deck to be able to play it now, which is something this deck's had a little bit of trouble with before. Right, going on to who's got Audacity, just for the Joker crew. They've allocated one to Harley Quinn. The rest of them can all be allocated out as wild cards as they needed. For the Suicide Squad, have to determine who gets theirs. Deadshot gets one. We go for Captain Boomerang, Katana, and Killer Croc at the front here. Okay, let's move on. It's Joker crew to activate first. Well, kicking things off, Thug 5 activated for Joker. It has to be said, this is actually a generic Thug. He isn't specifically for Joker, it just comes with the clown mask as part of the Back to Gotham set, so I always associate him with the Joker crew. But yes, he moved forward. He didn't take an Audacity counter. He didn't feel he was worth it himself, and he moved up. He was inspired to being able to put him down a suspect marker, and he turned that into a Stinky Fish, trademark Joker, for 2 points. At the end of the turn, if that Stinky Fish is still there, hasn't been revealed, there'll be 2 points for Joker, but it will poison anyone who does reveal it. Okay? So, yes, that concludes Joker's first activation. Over to Suicide Squad. Let's see what they want to do. Floyd Lawton, team leader, activated next. He was at about halfway up the capital metro to begin with. He started his actions by using a tactical action to draw a bead on Ace of Spades over there with his modified assault gun. He's got 3 rounds of ammunition for it this game because it took an extra magazine from purchasable war gear, thought it was useful. And yes, lots and lots of damage was done to the Ace of Spades. Didn't lose any dice for shooting into night because he's got night vision, and just lost the strength die for firing over the effective range of the gun, but activated rapid fire to get another dice back. So yeah, lots of damage done there. 6 points of blood and 3 of stun. It's an easy kill there. Enabled Deadshot to score Catch a Bullet from the generic deck for 1 measly point, but yeah, did at least 6 points of damage with a ranged attack. So need to score something for the Suicide Squad because they do have bombs in their necks. And yes, he then moved forwards to there, and then used the resource of They Won't See Me Coming from the hand to hang on. There we go. Yes, here we go. He's got a free agent rank. He may perform a manipulate action, so he did that by putting down a suspect marker just there. That keeps the Psychopaths card for the Joker crew on level pegging, so it's not looking like the Joker will score that 3 points so easily. A little bit of admin before we carry on. Sorry, I forgot to mention that as a reaction to Deadshot taking out Ace of Spades, your expendable came out of the Joker crew's hand for 1 point. Friendly model with a trickster trait, which all henchmen in the Joker crew have, is removed as a casualty or it becomes KO, and it makes both sides discard a card from their hand. So yes, Joker also managing to equal the 1 point score there. Having done that, Polka Dot Man activated for Joker. Just zoom in on him there. He just moved forward, and there is of course you can't see it, there's a suspect marker just to hang on, there it is peeking out over there. Yes, there's a suspect marker just next to him there. He put it down because he had inspiration. He's not going to be looking to do anything much offensive, so this seemed like a good plan. He's still easily within force field bubbling anyone in his crew, okay, especially Joker, which is the important thing. Okay, let's move on. Okay, after Polka Dot Man, the Suicide Squad declared one of their many passes they were going to use, so this thug with chainsaw decided he'd run into the park and pop down a suspect marker because he was inspired. Still no audacity taken. Having done that, the Suicide Squad decided they would pass again. They have 2 remaining now, and yes, the Joker crew decided to not mess around anymore for fun. They looked at their caster score, wasn't much on the table yet, so the Hobo Clown, who was down by this sewer marker, decided he was going to use it with his freebie manipulate action, and he appeared next to Killer Croc, as you can see, and attacked him with his cleaver, meat knife as it's called on here. The Killer Croc for his part efforted once for defense, and yes, Hobo Clown put 3 in for fun, after all that, and yes, after a pretty good set of dice rolls, did 3 points of damage to Killer Croc with his meat knife as well. So pretty harsh stuff, and yes, so hurting is going the way of the Suicide Squad at the moment. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out. The Joker's crew's lost one low level model, but one of the pretty solid choices for Suicide Squad is taking a bit of damage. Zipping around to the other borders, then the Suicide Squad activated next. They went with Katana, who started down here and used her prodigious movement. She used her adaptable ability early in the turn to give herself 2 inches extra movement as well. She ended up over here and she popped down a suspect marker because she had audacity, and she's made that a snitch, as you can see there. A good old staple card. If you can take it, take it. 3 points if at the end of the turn, if the no Joker themed models can get within 4 inches of this space over here. Lovely. So okay, back to the Joker. Let's see, Whiteface activated next for the Joker's crew. He did the same trick that Hobo Clown did. He was inspired, so he used his free manipulate to zip through the sewer, and then he used his sole action remaining to attack Killer Croc in close combat using his bayonet. Killer Croc could only put 2 effort in now due to accrued damage, and Whiteface matched that, as you can see there, for the 2 stun damage each has taken. After all was said and done, Croc's tough skin saved him from taking 2 points of blood damage, but he did take 1. Taking his running total up to 4 points of endurance lost, so he's over halfway towards being killed, unfortunately. No cards scored for either side in this phase. It's a bit of a low scoring one for both sides at this point, but I'm sure as the crews close up, it will get a bit more pointy points heavy. Harley Quinn activated for Suicide Squad next, and yes, she didn't have Audacity, not yet. I'm sure she will later on in the game. She's too good not to. And she popped herself using her acrobatic skills on top of the jungle gym here, and yes, she's in a much better position to use her acrobatic abilities next turn to get into combat and deal some damage, or score points in whatever way makes most sense at the time. After Harley Quinn, you can see that Dynamite activated next for the Joker crew. He took one of the Audacity markers that their crew's been hoarding for so long, and he moved back to this sewer marker, used his freebie Manipulate for being inspired by Joker to move through to here. I don't know if he could have attacked Killer Croc actually, but what he did do is put down a suspect marker instead with his normal tactical action, and played Let Them In on the Joke from the hand for 2 instantaneous points from the Jet. Because yes, one friendly model with a trick straight places a suspect marker within 4 inches of an enemy model. Also means both sides had to discard a card at their hand from random. So yeah, there you go. A bit more deck cycling, unwilling deck cycling for the Suicide Squad. Well, I don't know if that's going to mess up with their plans or not. 2 points though for Joker's crew now. Well, the Suicide Squad replied, and despite itching to get some payback for all the damage he's suffered this turn, Killer Croc took the I've got a bomb strapped into my neck and I need to score victory points route, and decided that he'd move to where the suspect marker was and reveal it, and in so doing he played Confusion from the hand of Suicide Squad for 2 points. It's a generic card, scores instantaneously. A friendly model reveals an enemy suspect within 8 inches of an enemy deployment zone, and that one just is. See, it's an 8-inch deployment zone, and that was less than 16 inches on, so yeah, that counts. 2 points for the Suicide Squad. Unfortunately for the Suicide Squad, this was met by an instant so long it's been a gas from the Joker crew, of course, for 2 points. Lots of text. We've seen this plenty of times before, though. It allows the Joker crew to react to one of their suspect markers being picked up by scoring 2 points and forcing the Suicide Squad to put down a suspect marker in contact with one of their models. That's let's see, it's Captain Boomerang over there, and Captain Boomerang also gets innovated 2 for his troubles, so -12 his next effort limit. Yeah, so honours even on the score on that one, but at least it's 2 points scored for Suicide Squad, so yeah. A fairly inauspicious activation for Joker saw him move into the park there, ready to create some more mayhem next turn though, and he's still safely in amongst his crew members, ready so that they can perhaps get inspired next turn. And Captain Boomerang concluded the Suicide Squad's activations for the turn. He hopped over this fence here and then used his bladed boomerang as a throwing action against Hobo Clown, easily knocking the clown out. He then activated his ricochet ability to knock that boomerang onto Dynamite over here, because we know how dangerous Dynamite can be. With his he's got the taunt skill, I think, which is really good for taking down high powered characters. Anyway, 3 dice and 3 hits, easy, for doing 1 point of blood, 1 point of stun each for 3 each. A pensive die was rolled. On a 1, Dynamite would have blown up, but it came up as a 3, so no explosions yet for Dynamite. He'll have to do it of his own volition. Anyway, let's carry on and see what's going to happen next. It's the Joker's turn to conclude. And yes, to round things off, the Joker crew's Harley Quinn activated, and she blitzed forwards, popped down a suspect marker, and as you can see, it's a set of exploding teeth, and I've left the card over the other side of the board, so let's journey round together, shall we? And yeah, nice easy one we've seen it before several times. Yes, there you go, just in case you wanted to know, it's Bite the Dust. So lots of text. It's a 3 ticker on it, so that's going to count down every activation subsequent to this. This will go down by 1. The teeth will also move d6 inches towards the last model to activate. When it reaches 0, it will explode. If it does damage to anyone, then 2 points will be scored for the Joker's crew. Nice and simple. Well, that concludes this the first turn's activations. We're going to go to the recount phase now and see if any cards have come about for their respective owners. Right, well then, easy to report that in the end phase, each side took 1 point of stun marker off of each of their models that had it. Hobo Clown failed to come around from being knocked out, so it was pretty straightforward, that one. Needed to get a 4 or less on 2 dice, not going to happen. Not often anyway. In terms of cards that scored on the Joker crew side, their Stinky Fish definitely remains in play, for it doesn't look fresh, for 2 points. However, unfortunately for them, Psychopaths did not come out. The Suicide Squad were able to put out quite a few suspect markers. and only one model actually died. That was Ace of Spades at the beginning of the turn. For the Suicide Squad's part, Katana's Snitch card definitely scored, so much needed 3 victory points for them there. And Harley Quinn didn't even get attacked, let alone hurt, KO'd or killed, so Die Hard scores for 2 points for them as well. So they are well above this turn's quota for avoiding exploding heads, so yeah, that's pretty good. We'll move on to the second turn now, where things I've got a feeling are about to hot up. There's a lot of models in a compressed area of the board. Okay, second turn is now underway, and we've just done the first 2 phases, take the lead and raise the plan. Okay, in the first phase, no cards played, but can reveal that the Suicide Squad now definitely has the initiative for this turn. And in terms of audacity, well, in the raise the plan phase, the Joker played Psychopaths again, banking on there being a lot more carnage this turn than the last one. So yeah, 3 points if they get that one by the end of the game. It's the one they played last turn. And yes, what's happening next? Oh yes, audacity, of course. So big decisions to be made for the Suicide Squad. They decided that Deadshot would not get audacity this turn, but Katana, Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn and Killer Croc, the ones in more danger, would get to the audacity instead. On the Joker's side, just Harley Quinn again, the others all being able to take it as needed as a wild card, as Joker's crew special rule, effectively. Okay, right, let's move on and get on with the carnage. Well, Suicide Squad Harley Quinn didn't waste any time at all. She decided she was going to get in there and do some damage, and yes, she certainly did so. She vaulted down into the middle of the Joker thugs, put a couple of efforts into her attacks, split her attacks evenly between Dynamite and Whiteface here, both of whom put 1 effort in a piece because her base were about to stun damage, so they couldn't effort too much for fear of going unconscious themselves, but it was to no avail. She knocked both of them out with a plum, 5 points of stun damage each. She did, obviously to help her out, she did play Jokerometer, her own card, as a resource. 2 points gave her for 2 resource points gave her an extra strength die. I forgot to mention that, so that did tilt things back in her favour somewhat. And yes, because 10 points of damage were scored as a single attack, that They Must Know Pain came out. It scores 1 point, she needed to score 6, she scored 10, and yes, the Joker crew really must know some pain right now. Yeah, so 1 more point for Suicide Squad, and a pretty good turn there for Harley Quinn. Joker activated for the Joker crew. He wanted to go first this time, and he moved forwards and activated his Joker gas, managing to catch Killer Croc, Dynamite on his own side, and Harley Quinn, his erstwhile partner, in the blast, causing each of them poison 1 and enervating 1 as well. Bear in mind that ties into some of his scoring cards, the scoring of some of his objective cards, so it's a useful thing to do even if it's a slow poison. He then put down a suspect marker, and as he has the Trickster trait, he was able to play Let Them In on the Joke, same as last turn from his hand. Well, one of his crew did it last turn from his hand. 2 points because he managed to put down a suspect marker within 4 inches of an enemy model. Okay, so, and then each side will be discarding a card, which I'll do in just a moment. So yes, bit of mayhem there from the Clown Prince of Crime. Okay, activating Katana, the Suicide Squad went next. She swept into combat with Harley Quinn here and managed to actually pull off a successful feint against the clown, which will prevent Harley from putting in any dice to prevent Harley from making any effort to reduce the dice pool. To that end, then Katana put an extra 3 dice in. There's 1 to boost up the feint. There's 3 more for boosting up the attack, getting a massive amount of dice. It looked very bad for Harley Quinn, to be honest, but then Polka Dot Man was within 8 inches. He put 3 effort in himself to reduce the incoming dice pool by 3, and all said and done, 2 hits managed to get through. The strength die whiffed twice, crucially, and yes, that was just enough to prevent, 4 points of damage out of 7 done to Harley Quinn, so she's over halfway towards being dead, but she is still alive. Don't know if that would have happened if not for the Polka Dot Man being there. In fact, I'm pretty sure she'd have been dead. But yeah, so yes, Polka Dot Man helping his team out already. Okay, let's carry on. No cards scored as a result of that action. Thug 3 activated next. He took the second of 3 available audacity markers left for the Joker crew, and he decided he was going to get in on what's his name, Captain Boomerang, just there, Digger Harkness. He moved into combat, used his inspiration-based audacity inspiration-based manipulate action to put down another suspect marker, which, as you can see, turned out to be a Stinky Fish with the It Doesn't Look Fresh card, as we've seen plenty of times in the past and already this game. So yep, another 2 points if that stays there, and the Suicide Squad don't have many activations left to be able to stop them, but nonetheless, yes, he got into combat. Digger Harkness was innovated 2 from last turn, put 1 point of effort in is all he could do. The Clown for his part put all the effort in, and it just wasn't to be. He whiffed the dice, unfortunately, quite badly. Only the strength die got through in the end, of 3 points of blood damage. Very lucky for Captain Boomerang there that it wasn't more damage done. One more hit getting through would have killed him in one go, so yes, he got very lucky. But yeah, sometimes that's what you need. But nonetheless, the actual victory points will be in the fish, not in the damage. Killer Croc next for Suicide Squad, and he was getting a bit battered, he knew, so he decided he'd hop over the fence and pop down a Stinky Fish of his own with another It Doesn't Look Fresh card for the Suicide Squad. So exactly the same as before, a war of Stinky Fish. That's what this is turning into, and yes, hopefully that will keep him out of trouble. Alright, Polka Dot Man activated next, and he zipped along and used his what's it called? Is it just his throwing discs to obliterate what was left of Killer Croc? In fact, it was actually quite close. He did just enough hits to finish off the reptilian there. Having done so, he was able to play, well, Joker was able to play Seasoning the Mix from the hand for 2 victory points. Model with the poison effect is removed as a casualty, and it will make each side discard a card. But wait for it, as a response to that, the Suicide Squad also had Seasoning the Mix in their hand, because they can take Joker cards because they've got Harley Quinn in there, for 2 points of their own. And it doesn't have to be an enemy model removed, it's one of their own. They figured that there'd be some poisoning going on, and the Joker may even be poisoning his own chaps as well, by accident. So yeah, they figured it might be a good way to get 2 points in reaction, and so it was. Shame it was Killer Croc who bought it, but yeah. There we are. It's 2 points. It's 2 points. It stops their heads from popping. Oh, incidentally, the ticking teeth which were over there in the middle, they since exploded a while ago and didn't actually hit anyone. So those 2 points did not score for Joker, I'm afraid. But yes, there you go. First Suicide Squad member down. As Killer Croc again. He just doesn't seem to have much luck with me. He's like Harvey Bullock. Captain Boomerang activated again now for the Suicide Squad. He moved out from the chainsaw wielding loony over there and popped down a suspect marker, which is a snitch, as we can see on the board, for another 3 points. There's not many models left to go for the Joker crew, so this may serve to draw them over there instead of maybe taking out their pain on Katana. So yeah, so there's a little bit of tactics, or maybe they'd just be happy to forfeit the 3 points. But yes, 3 points potential on the board there for the Suicide Squad. And with a certain inevitability, yes, Harley Quinn acted and moved in to contest the snitch marker, and on the way she also managed to beat Digger Harkness soundly around the head several times, having distracted him down to defense 2. She put a couple of effort into mitigate his paltry efforts at doing the same, and yes, she is well and truly knocked him out. Didn't score any points, but is currently stopping the snitch marker. And Deadshot finally for Suicide Squad. While his team is scrabbling and fighting for their lives below, he took the opportunity to bag himself some swag by revealing the suspect marker he put down last turn and claiming some valuable commodities for 3 points at the end of the game if he's still got them on him. So yeah, there's a lot of text there, but basically that'll be on his character card. We've seen this lots before, to be honest. And if he's KO'd or knocked out, it will go onto the space on the board and anyone can pick it up. But if the Suicide Squad have it at the end of the game, they'll get 3 lovely points. Right, so let's carry on. And the last guy to go for this turn was actually Thug number 5, who had big plans for jumping out and gunning down Katana over there, but then suddenly realised that Joker here was a little bit far away from protect me range of any conscious thugs of his, so hightailed it over here, and yes, that's where he'll stay. He is just within 4 inches of Joker, so hopefully that'll help out the crew more than just messing around with his guns. Okay, that concludes this turn 2's activations. We're going to move to the recount phase now and do some tidying up. Okay. Okay, second turn of this battle in the park, as it seems to be turning into, has now elapsed. And right, let's start with who's scored what. Well, obviously on the Suicide Squad side, the snitch marker has been well and truly locked down by Harley Quinn. However, Killer Croc's Stinky Fish does score, so the 3 points for Snitch will be going back into the deck, but the 2 points for It Doesn't Look Fresh did score, so they'll be taking those points home with them. For the Joker crew, once again, Psychopaths didn't come out for them. Unfortunately, the Suicide Squad just managed to put down a suspect marker or two in the course of the turn, and there wasn't quite the body count as we wanted. Lots of people KO'd, just not the actual casualties, so yeah, maybe this card will really come into its own against lots of other crews like League of Assassins, or I think the Cobra Cult does a lot of blood damage. Lots of them do, to be honest, but yeah, not this time for them, not this turn anyway. But however, the Stinky Fish put down by Chainsaw Guy on his rampage does also score, so the fish are really paying dividends for both sides. Okay, let's move on to the well, actually, let's tell you who came round. In terms of models coming around from unconsciousness, actually Digger Harkness, Captain Boomerang, did come round from being unconscious, so he's back in the game now, albeit knocked down and 1 point of stun away from going unconscious again. For the clowns in the middle, it was just Whiteface managed to come round, and he'll be acting again next turn. Right, now let's move on to turn number 3. Okay, turn number 3 now completed in terms of the take the lead and raise the plan phases, at least, sorry. In terms of cards played, in the first phase, Let's Dance was played by the Suicide Squad using their Harley Quinn connection to get Joker cards. 2 points played now scored at the end of the turn if a model with the leader, psychic or free agent rank, which is any of them in the Suicide Squad, suffers damage from an enemy action during this round. So yeah, that's a bit of a shoo-in, assuming that the Joker team actually wants to do any damage at all. They're going to have to take the 2 point hit. So I guess time for the Joker team to go large or go home. So yeah, for their part, the Joker crew played Psychopaths again. Let's see if they can score it this time. Again, 3 points, end of the turn. Basically, if they can do more damage, if more models get killed, then the Suicide Squad can put out suspect markers, then yeah, they'll get those 3 points. Maybe it'll pay off for them this time. It's something the Suicide Squad's got to bear in mind, at least, for the course of the turn. Or again, just forfeit the points and go, just play their own game. Right, let's see, the Suicide Squad got... let's see, Suicide Squad got the initiative again. They're cashing in their unspent unspent passes from last turn to turn the score from Joker's favour to theirs, so they'll be going first. And yeah, Audacity, the Suicide Squad, everyone's got one, and once again on the Joker crew, just Harley Quinn had to be allocated it. Everyone else can take theirs as needed. Right, let's get going and find out who's going to be taking these points. Digger Harkness laying down on the ground as he was, and very, very vulnerable to anyone with a mallet or a chainsaw. He decided he'd go first. He stood up, he had Audacity, so he finished his move off by hopping over the seesaws here, and then he threw one of his remaining boomerangs at Joker. I think that actually... yeah, it uses up his standard boomerangs, and yes, but yeah, with 3 dice, 2 normal dice and the strength die, but Polka Dot Man, spoiling the fun, took 3 points of effort just to nullify it down to 0, so no attack came out of that, and Polka Dot Man sniggers once again. Incidentally, Polka Dot Man managed to clean off all the accumulated effort stun damage that he'd taken through his auto repair skill. He just keeps renewing those polka dots, I guess. Yeah, and yeah, so that finished off Digger Harkness's Captain Boomerang's activation. On to Joker. Joker activated next, and he wanted to cause some carnage now. The nasty side of his personality is coming out. First of all, he used his special action to activate his one-shot gun and kill off Digger Harkness. It was a 2+ basically. Dealt 3 points of damage, and he is dead. No points scored from that. However, Katana's card did come out. That pronunciation. For 3 points, it's come out from the Suicide Squad hand, and it's I don't think we've seen this before. When an enemy model removes one of your models as a casualty, such as the Joker just did, that the Joker is now the target, and Katana is the chosen model because she does lots of blood damage. If she kills Joker now in revenge for Captain Boomerang, then that'd be 3 points scored for the Suicide Squad, and that will last for, well, as long as the game continues, basically. So there you go. So that could score either this turn or the next turn. Right, having done that, Joker then moved into combat with Harley Quinn. I did move him into combat, they just slipped a little bit since. And he put 3 effort in. She was enervated and didn't put any effort in herself. So he got 3 hits through in the end, each doing 1 point of blood, so 3 points of blood damage to Harley Quinn. She did actually, I forgot to mention, she took some poison damage in the last phase of last turn, and so yes, she is actually on 4 points of blood damage against her 7 endurance, so she's over halfway towards dying herself, which is well, bad for Suicide Squad. They can't afford to keep taking casualties, not at all. Right, moving on. Deadshot had enough of not shooting people, so he drew his sights down onto Harley Quinn herself. She could only put 2 effort in for her acrobatics to dodge bullets because she'd already taken so much damage fending off Katana earlier in the game, and it just wasn't enough. The hail of gunfire from his modified assault rifle, which still has 1 round of ammunition left in it after this is done, took her out altogether. Yes, finished her off nastily. And unfortunately for the Joker's crew, the Suicide Squad had the $1 million shot in their hand, Deadshot's own signature card. Make an enemy model with the leader's sidekick or free agent rank KO, or remove it as a casualty with a ranged attack, and that's exactly what they just done. This Harley Quinn is a sidekick and she is well and truly out of the game. Yeah, 3 points scored for Suicide Squad. And that concludes Deadshot's activation. He didn't want to move and he used his special action activating rapid fire. Thug 5 with the 2 handguns activated next. He was just over here. He took an audacity counter and used his gunman ability to fire twice at Harley Quinn. And yes, just as the last one was killed in a hail of gunfire, so was this Harley Quinn. He's got a lot of dice when you put them all together, because he's got that his special trait allows him to fire once after the other, and she was dodging as much as she could, but it just wasn't to be, and he got some pretty good dice rolls. And there's the final result. Lots of 4 points of blood damage is what you need to focus in on there, which is enough to finish her off. Having done so, seasoning the mix came out again from the Joker's hand for 2 points. Model with the poison effect is removed as a casualty, and yes, she was poisoned as before. So yeah, nasty. And yes, both Harley Quinns gone in the matter of minutes. Okay, Katana for the Suicide Squad as their last model to activate for turn 3. First of all, played from the hand, they won't see me coming. We've seen that before this game. For 1 resource point, she gets an additional manipulate action, is what that means. And she used that extra manipulate to put down a suspect marker, which then was translated into... Ooh, let me reach backwards, a stinky fish with it doesn't look fresh. For 2 points, we've seen that a lot this game, and it's happening again. Doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to get over there to stop it either, so well, that's fun. And yes, so there you are, and then she moved over using her normal movement and sliced up the chainsaw thug with her normal tactical action. He really had no chance, to be perfectly honest. He was kind of exhausted and she was wielding that horrible sword, so yes, he is gone. We'll move on to the Joker's crew now. I think it's just Polka Dot Man, who's hiding around there, to go next. Okay, I was wrong, it wasn't just Polka Dot Man, but I've just done both activations and I'll recount them now. First of all, it was Polka Dot Man. He moved first to this sewer, then he took an audacity counter incidentally. He then used his manipulate from being inspired to move along to there, and then used his normal manipulate action to pick up the stinky fish that Katana had just put down. And so he got poisoned for it, but he will be denying those 2 points at the end of the turn. So yes, I didn't think of that when I popped it down just next to a sewer marker. Should have done. Remembered it when it was Joker's turn though, so all's fair, all's fair. And then finally it was actually Whiteface. He recovered from KO, I forgot that, and yeah, that's where he was. He picked himself up, dusted himself down, moved, took and popped down and a poisoned fish, another stinky fish. Here it is. It doesn't look fresh from the Joker's hand again. I think it's their 3rd and final one. I hope so, blimey. This battlefield is going to take on a distinct odour, and it's not going to be dead bodies. It's not going to be dead human bodies. It's going to be fish. Fish. So yes, that's the last activation that will be there. So yeah, we'll come to that in the recount phase, which we're going to go to now. Yes, the Joker seems to have won the battle for the park and the centre itself, but we'll see if that can translate into actual points for them at the end of the game. Okay, recount phase just completed. Let's start with who succumbed to what. So first of all, poor Dynamite, who was down there, finally succumbed to the poison that was in him, and he couldn't take it anymore, so he's been picked up off the board. He is deaded. Hobo Clown did not recover from being KO'd, so he'll be spending the rest of the game unconscious. Polka Dot Man did not suffer from poison after picking up the stinky fish, so yeah, he's alright. Everyone else just took 1 point of stun off that they had already accrued, so that's that. In terms of scoring cards, the Suicide Squad did not score Katana's Stinky Fish thanks to Polka Dot Man's efforts, so did not score, goes back in their deck. However, as played at the beginning of the turn, Let's Dance did come off for them for 2 points, because boy did they take some damage. And any one model taking damage would have done it. They took several off, so they get the 2 points though. Hooray for them! That's winning, that is, I guess. Although I guess they'd rather have all their models back. Right, so on the Joker side, the Stinky Fish was just put down by Whiteface definitely scores for 2 points. Lovely. And finally, Psychopaths does score for the Joker crew, because a lot of people died just now and not many suspect markers went out overall, so 3 points for the Joker crew there as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a swing there for them. No idea who's actually winning. We're just about to go into turn number 4. There's only 2 models left in the Suicide Squad crew, but a lot of Joker's markers require things like reactions and whatnot to score, so it might not be too high scoring for them either. We'll have to wait and see and find out. Okay, let's see who can scrabble those last few points on the board. Okay, last turn now, and well, both sides are looking to score whatever points they can get. The Joker's crew won the initiative in the take the lead phase. No cards played by either side in that phase. However, Psychopaths did come out for the Joker in the second phase again, so every turn they've had this out, and it's starting to come in for fruition for them. That might, well, 3 points at this stage could swing things, I think. So yeah, we'll see if that factors into what the Suicide Squad can or will or won't do. In terms of who got Audacity, well, the Joker crew doesn't have to declare because they've got no one who needs to be given it up front. They can take theirs as wild cards all across the board now. And of course the Suicide Squad only have 2 models left anyway. So right, Joker to go first. Let's find out who can score what points. Well, Thug 5 went first for the Joker's crew because cards and points demanded. He moved up to here, popped down a suspect marker, which enabled him to play Let Them In on the Joke for 2 points. He still has the Trickster trait, and he put a suspect marker within 4 inches of Katana. And yes, that will force both sides to discard a card now. But yeah, 2 points now at this late stage of the game. Lovely. Deadshot activated for Suicide Squad then. He drew a bead on Joker, of all people, and yes, he shot down there and did a fair amount of hits. He only lost the strength die for shooting over his comfortable range, otherwise he was all right for dice. He activated his rapid fire trait to get an extra 1 in there. Joker then used Protect Me to deflect all of those hits onto his nearby white face guy, in the hopes that a nice easy kill would get a point on the Psychopaths card, because it wasn't enough to kill him. It would have been enough to hurt him but not kill him. But yes, this would kill Whiteface, and it would have done. However, Deadshot played non-lethal ammo from the hand as 2 points. It converts all that blood damage to stun damage, which just knocks out the clown instead of killing him. Therefore not satisfying the Psychopaths card from earlier for a kill, but yes, it does do the 2 victory points for the Suicide Squad, which is pretty cheeky play that from the Suicide Squad. But yes, that's quite fun. The Joker, realising shrewdly that his last Protect Me bodyguard clown piece of meat shield had just deserted him into unconsciousness, moved over to his new best friend, Thug 5, who's not unconscious yet, and he picked up the Suicide Squad suspect marker that was just there, and in doing so was able to play So Long It's Been a Gas from his hand. This is the one where they usually react to the enemy picking up suspect markers. They're allowed to do it when they pick up opponents' ones. If you read all that text, you'll see it, but basically it means that they can put down another suspect marker somewhere on the board. They'll put one down there, and Joker himself will probably take Enervating. It doesn't matter, there's only Katana to go, and she can't kill 2 models, can she? Well, surprise, surprise. Katana activated and she didn't have murder on the mind. Instead, she moved all the way over here using her acrobatic ability to scale the climbing frame here and popped down a snitch with her audacity and her manipulate action. So yeah, there you go, the snitch. Seen this plenty. 3 points. Lovely jubbly. That will probably score. There's not an awful lot the Suicide Squad, the Joker crew can do to get over there because their only fast moving model was over the other side of the board. And I'll come to him now. Because I just did him because it was very quick. He moved up to this Suicide Squad suspect marker, revealed it with his audacity, which he nicked off the pile, and he did so long it's been a gas again for 2 points. And that actually concludes the game's activations. I'm going to go now to the recount phase, and we'll find out who scored what in this final phase before we do the final count. Right then, okay, let's start with the Joker. All they had out to see if they scored or not was Psychopaths, and despite the fact they thought they might get it, unfortunately it was not to be. No one actually died in this last turn. There was gunfire, but it turned out to be rubber bullets instead. Very well timed there, because that denied 3 crucial points for the Joker, I feel. On the Suicide Squad though, it wasn't all plain sailing for them. Katana's card in the end never did score. She never got revenge for Digger Harkness, Captain Boomerang's death, so that's 3 points denied for them as well. However, Katana managed to score the snitch over there. No enemy models within 4 inches of it, so 3 points. And of course, Deadshot still has the valuable commodities. After Harley Quinn died, there was really not much that was going to threaten him, not with death anyway. And yeah, so he's 3 points there. Lovely for the Suicide Squad. I'm going to add these onto their score piles and then come back to you for the final score and the final thoughts. Okay, let's do this final score then. I generally don't know who won. I had to keep track of the Suicide Squad's count at the beginning of the game because I had to make sure they were hitting certain thresholds to prevent models on their squad from being exploded at the end of each turn. But once they reached a certain threshold, I was just like, okay, they're going to be okay now. I'm just going to carry on playing. And yeah, I've actually lost count and I don't know who's in the ascendancy. I have the Suicide Squad score pile in my hand though, so let's start with them. I think they might have shaded it, but let's find out. Both sides were scoring quite heavily at times. So down here we have 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, 11, 13, 16, 18, 20, 23 and 26 points. That's not too bad at all. 26 points, pretty good, especially for a crew this small. Sometimes you expect them to score a bit less, but yeah, 26. I've won on that before. Let's find out what the Joker got though. He's got 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 20, 22, 24, 26 as well. Wow, a draw, 26 all draw. So every single point scoring decision made actually counted for something in that one. So yeah, even down to Deadshot there using his non-lethal ammunition. That really did count. Wow. That was impressive. I think for a draw. I mean, not me on my play. My play is usually a bit subpar, and I usually get people pointing out everything I did wrong, which is fine as long as it don't, as long as it's constructive and I learn. That's the important thing. But yeah. That was a pretty big brawl in the park, I think, altogether. Thank goodness. I'm quite proud of that park, so it's okay. But yeah, I enjoyed that game a lot. A draw is really interesting. I think honours evens quite fair for both crews. The Joker actually ended up with a few of his thugs left over this time, which is nice, but just couldn't translate that into scores. I guess maybe against teams with fewer figures in them, he doesn't get quite that much chance to react like he wants to, because a lot of his cards based off like opponents doing things like picking up suspects, etc. So yeah, with lower with lower cost crews, yeah, he doesn't get that. But that new card Psychopaths is really good because it actually gives some onus for him to actually do some damage and rewards him for doing so. that's really useful. Makes a great change, adds to the gang quite a lot. The Suicide Squad, again, quite impressed with how they did this time, much better than their first showing against the Court of Owls, and I'm very happy with how they turned out. For a low model count, they seemed quite lethal at times. They tended to kill or beat up whoever they aimed at, and it's very hard, it's very nerve-wracking those first few turns, trying to scrabble to get those points, because you just don't want to lose models to like stupid things like, my head's exploding due to only scoring 5 points instead of 6, or 9 points instead of 10, or something like that, due to a run of bad cards. That's very nerve-wracking, but overall I'm quite proud with how they did. 26 points is certainly good enough for them, I feel, on this occasion. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching. Honestly, thank you if you made it this far. Please check out anything else on my channel if you see it that you like the look of, and if you want to give me some feedback, it's great. Comments are down below and all that nonsense for YouTube. My name's Shieldwall100. I enjoyed this game massively. I hope you did. Hope you enjoyed watching it. Okay, well, take care. Goodbye.